Orania. Homeland for whites in South Africa.
Specifically Afrikaners.
Translation: blacks are allowed.
Video by Boer Project.
Över 10 år fram och tillbaka till Sydafrika. Och det finns en plats.
Oh, I think they're Dutch. These are Dutch people, I think, because it's not Africa.
Yeah.
Sorry for people. Orania is a place for whites only. So it was created, I guess I can use that word, just pre-apartheid, like early 90s. I mean the end of apartheid.
Yeah.
Because they see there's no way white people are going to be successful.
Superior.
Being the superior over black people, at least in what's his name form, in form of parliament, political control. Because financially, white people still have the power, right? But so what they decided to do is they want to make our own section. We won't bother black people; they mustn't bother us. But it's weird because they're in South Africa. But anyways,
it was a decision I made for my kids to grow up in an environment that I used to know when I grew up on a farm, and the situation in South Africa now is not what I like for my kids to grow up in. So that is why
The situation he grew up in basically was a situation where we were still calling them bus, right? Like, you know, that shit, like, so.
Pissing me off.
So,
well, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You could be talking about that, but
Or
he's talking about farm.
Farm, yeah.
It will like we know after apartheid they started moving the shit around.
Right.
They didn't all lose there, but a lot of them did.
Cool.
So you might be talking about their environment.
Okay.
I'm just playing the white devil's advocate.
Right, no, that's cool, I understand. But, you know, even if it's like, in terms of like losing the farm, like,
he's not considering black people at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's only worried about himself, for sure.
So then, like, would it be such a bad thing in still living in South Africa?
For him?
For him.
You don't want that?
Thank you.
So he's talking about apartheid, I would say, because if he lost his farm maybe back then, he could have just gone to another place in South Africa and just started farm again. Not move to a place where it's just whites.
I'm gonna use.
I don't know if it's that simple, bro.
Yeah. No,
It's
not like black and white, but I'm gonna use some of the neighborhoods in PE, for example, right here, like.
Which neighborhood, bro?
Agoa for what?
Wait, perfect example. Think about this.
We came in.
If you grew up in that Agoa Park, this Agoa Park now, I would be out of there.
He's gone.
I would be out of there.
We moved in.
So in terms of safety, you guys are saying?
Safety, I'm thinking there could be one. Right?
One reason.
Yeah.
Or
too many blacks.
Too many, you know.
Don't like seeing them away.
You feel me?
But anyways,
AKA_safety.
Systemet.
Yes, Orania was established as an Afrikaner haven, as you rightly said, in 1991. By that time, it was already obvious to our leadership that minority government in South Africa was unsustainable. And we, as conservative Afrikaners, contrary to what some people might expect, was not trying to continue minority government, but we were neither, on the other hand, willing to give up the determination over our own affairs to a majority government that excluded or would exclude us and our interests. So already for some
bullshit, bruh. is anybody picking up on what this nigga is saying? Because this nigga is saying he's not for the minority system, right? But at the same time, he is not for the whole giving up the government.
He doesn't want to sound like a bad person.
Conservative Afrikaners. So I don't know if that's a different sect of Afrikaners. You feel me? Because people don't always agree on shit. Because maybe it's a different sect of them. So maybe there was a sect of them that wanted the power over the black, and there was a sect of them that they just wanted shit to, like this, and shit to be on their own. So we're saying self-determination.
Self-determination.
This is Orania is like self-determination for Afrikaners, I guess.
Okay.
Because you're gonna see everything is run by them. They get their own power source and all that shit.
Alright, so there's a sector of them.
I'm just saying perhaps.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So there's a sector of them that wants to, that doesn't want to, give away the power, right?
They doesn't want to be excluded.
Excluded, okay, okay. And then there's a sector of them that
want the power.
Okay.
That's what I got out of it.
Okay.
Killing everything.
I'm not buying it, sorry, yeah. Like I'm calling bullshit on that, but alright.
So what I'm saying is all of them wanted to rule. All of them.
Pretty much, yeah. No, it's not necessarily like all of them, like in that sense wanting the rule. I'm just saying that they are saying one thing, right, of them like not being for that whole oppressive state or that system, you feel me? But then at the same time, I'm hearing that they weren't down for the whole, democracy thing. That's what I'm hearing, you feel me?
It's not down for the democracy.
Yeah, of like equality.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because you know why I'm saying that? Because it's never gonna work in his favor. Because South Africa is 80% black.
This is what I'm hearing.
So it's impossible for him to get what he wants, which is why he says he wants self-determination.
This is what I'm hearing. This is why I'm like calling bullshit on that. Like there's like no way of spinning that into sounding good. Like this is just.
But is it bad? Because think about it, he's a white person. It's a white family.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
So his only concern as a human being about his family.
His family, no. Traditional sense, thinking about his family, obviously I'll never say that's a bad thing. I'll never say that, that isn't a good thing or whatever, you feel me? In the sense of,
running away from the rest of the black people and colored people.
In the sense of like this whole like equality thing in terms of like races and stuff like that, I feel like he's not contributing to the solution by like
creating his own sector
or by segregating himself and his people like to wherever they want to go, wherever they want to.
So it's not about ruling over blacks.
Absolutely not. It is the exact opposite.
I think this guy is straight from the Netherlands. And he's like, enough with the fluff, let's get straight into it, man. His English is very limited. He's like, so it's better about, my nigga.
It is the exact opposite of ruling over black people or whoever. It's a matter of ruling over ourselves, looking after ourselves, our own material interests, education, safety, all those kinds of things that really matter to people in their daily lives. And we started with 0, and we've grown over the past, 27 years. We've grown to a population of 1,500.
Very small. That's very, very small.
When we're driving around there, because you can't walk around in those areas, you see all these houses with electrical fences and barbed wire. You walk around and you don't even have a fence around the houses.
Yeah, not around the town as well.
Yeah.
That's the sort of demographic side of safety. Section that refers to self-determination. There's a section in the South African Constitution that says the right to the self-determination of the whole South Africa or the South African nation does not exclude the right of a cultural community like Orania to exercise self-determination in its own right.
So it's in the grasp of possibility to achieve some kind of autonomous self-determination.
It could definitely, and we work on that premise that it could be taken much further than we have taken it already. Yeah. As long as it is supported by the people affected by it. Of course, it's not something that could be forced down on people who don't want it or are not interested. But
so let's say you had the opportunity to create this, but for black people, and you call it something else, would you do it?
No.
What the fuck?
Okay, yeah, for the safety, yes. For any other reason, living just alone with like I'm Xhosa, so just living with the Xhosa people, no. I like variety. I like diverse.
You like colored girls.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, man. If you just want the colored girls, you like the toxicity of colored girls.
Yeah, man, you gotta live your life. Yeah, living a boring life is it's not work.
I agree with you, man. You can't have one flavor all the time. Fuck that. Thing with me, I like variety, but I will say, for if this is allowed now to start making this type of places, black people, colored people, whoever they complains about the South African situation, here's kind of a solution for you. If you can do this, you feel me? So I would say you can look at this as kind of, you know, because they provide all their own food, they provide pretty much everything is provided by them.
Farming and everything.
Yeah, I think that they have a contract with Eskom, but it's not through South Africa. So they have their own agreement with Eskom for power and things.
Nice.
So, you know, I see it as kind of, you can have your own ideas on whether white people should be doing this in a South African country, because imagine black people going to Netherlands, creating their own place, be like, this is now the just a town in Netherlands. It's kind of weird. I've got an issue with that, I understand, but I think it's pretty cool that they lived in a safe place, you know, to walk around. I think it's kind of cool. So,
maybe we should. Netherlands.
Netherlands. They won't allow it. That's the difference between South Africa and most places.
Yeah.
They won't allow that shit. Hell, Lesotho right in the middle of South Africa.
Again, Lesotho is a... Is that a country in,
yeah,
in a country? Yeah, you see, Lesotho is a country in a country.
So. Or another country in a country.
I mean...
Yeah, South Africa.
Many countries in a country.
They don't allow these things in other places. Imagine going to America and say we want to make a mini South Africa here. Then you're going to hear that shit, be like, nigga, fuck off.
I think this safety of theirs, you feel me, comes from the fact that it's just, you know...
it's created by black people. The non-safety.
It's a...
Yeah, for sure. And colors.
It's a lack, and I think of like the population being like low, not like that high or whatever, extremely, you know, because as we know, mostly populated places, you know what I mean, there's bound to be issues and stuff like that in terms of like food, resources, and obviously.
But you know what I say? I think the problem is not the population. The problem is poverty.
Yeah.
Population.
But no, you see what I'm saying though, it also links to that with lesser population, everybody's got like their opportunities to do some odd-end jobs or whatever, to earn money, you feel me? Whereas, even in our economy where we're living in right now, so them escaping, I guess, you know, makes sense from that point, because, you know, with the lack of job opportunities that are like not being created here, you know, and poverty rising and rising and rising. But again, I just think that's because isn't that many people there. I don't think it's because of like the lack of diversity or whatever that causes that safety. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
but he never said that.
Yeah.
But he never said that.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, I just feel like it's not really a solution to just live like among yourselves, bro. Like, you feel me? Like, diversity is not the issue here. You feel me? Like. But I know he says that they just live there, you know, to live their way, you know, to live, you know, the way they want to. I just feel like it's not moving forward, is what I feel about this, bro. It's not really, but economically wise though, they seem to be doing well for themselves, so. But I don't think it's really something that's going to push us forward, like, you know, as human beings in general, bro. Like, you know, if they keep with this division or whatever, like whatever you want to call it.
What do you think? I think this is kind of the model that works, man. Feel me? Because the model where you see a whole lot of different people in the same place, it tends to not work. It tends to not work at all. Look at America. There's a big melting pot of how many cultures? Pretty much everybody in the world.
Sure.
And they got the most fucked up shit going. The economy does well. Feel me? But they got a lot of racism shit going on. So it's like, which model do you think works better?
Well, like I said, economically, yeah, what they're doing seems to be working for them, right? They are thriving with that. So that model is clearly working for them, right? Like, and maybe it would work, like, you know, for others as well. Like I don't know if blacks created their own community, would that work or not?
Probably not.
Think about it this way, but think about it. Don't think about black people in Akasi. Think about black people in, let's say, Bloaters was filled with only black people. And there's people with money. All the poverty and all the other stuff gone away.
Yeah.
It's like people are good here economically.
Okay.
Do you think that could work?
Maybe.
Civilized blacks only.
Maybe.
Like I said, like I was saying, man, it works economically, right? Like, because everybody has the opportunity to earn something, to make something, to create, and there's not much issues for resources being passed around. There's enough food, there's enough water for everybody. Everybody has a place to stay and a home. But for me, this is where it gets me, bro. Like it feels like it's kind of sending a message of like diversity is the problem, whereas I don't view it that way at all. You feel me? Like I don't feel like it's something that's, you know, holding us back. I feel like the sooner like we get along, because bro, we're always gonna have our differences, right? We're always gonna have different views and different opinions and stuff like that, you know. Sometimes even with your own kind or your own people, whatever, you know, in your
Whatever that means.
in your own religion, in your own race or your own ethnicity or your own gender, to be politically correct, right? I just feel like to exclude, you know, a certain group here, or to not want to take part with
blacks allowed.
To not want to take part with any group. I don't think that's moving forward. I think that's moving backwards. You feel me?
But do they care?
Otherwise, economically fine, you're like doing your thing.
So kid is no for the self-determination, for the integration.
Nah, I certainly wouldn't want to move to a place where it's just like, you know, blacks, you know, like even if it's Wakanda, that whole concept like kind of confuses me. Nah, man, like I'm good with any like type of race, or gender, or whatever, like
Big ups to you, Chan.
form like.
It's like you know, Lindsay and Mav going to Wakanda.
MelloHype 20202020.
I say fuck being complacent when the Owens adjacent, awaken the ciphers, the snake pit. I say fuck being complacent when the Owens adjacent, awaken the ciphers, the snake pit, the snake pit.
It's the unorthodox, the walking rhyming paradox. Y'all out of time like dead clocks. I stay rooted like dreadlocks, leak bars like broken faucets.